Okay, so I am currently in the process of experimenting on how to flock. I heard turning it into like this sort of flock pastiness or something. Powder. That's the word I was looking for. Turning it into like this flock powder from cutting tiny little pieces.
And for those who don't know what flocking is,
it is.
I thought
you were gonna explain it.
Oh no. Okay.
Flocking is like if you want to make, for instance, what I'm doing is to make the side of the wig look shaved. So it's just like really fine hair that looks shaved, and it's really hard to accomplish it with full pieces of hair.
Okay, so this is the stuff that she made, the flocking stuff. So she just chopped it up as small as she could get it. So can you lift it out of the cup, please?
Lift it out of the cup.
Yeah. Just so I can see a little bit better. See, so that looks like very fine. So, yep, that's that. I'll show you guys more later. Alright, so for her, we're going to put long sideburns on the side, and then do the flocking to the middle, and then her mohawk is going to go forward. So, just really quickly though, because hair naturally doesn't just like end quickly there, we're not doing wefts to put on here. We just glued it on, and then we'll put the flocking like over it, starting here and going up, so that'll look a little bit more natural. So let me show you really quickly how to do it on the other side, or how I did this on the other side, because you have to break it into two parts and then do one on the actual sideburn itself. But then when you do it on the sideburn itself, it ends up looking, it does look glued on, so then you have to do another one up top further so that it covers up the glued on part to the actual sideburn. So let me show you that in 1 second. So I'm going to start by putting glue onto this, onto the actual sideburn. Make sure though to not get any onto the plastic wrap, or then when the hair is hanging down, it's going to be glued to the plastic wrap instead of onto the wig cap where you want it to be. So then you're going to space it out a little bit, and make sure you have a firm grip down here so that when you're messing with it up here, it doesn't accidentally like pull up and pull off. So make sure you press it down enough so that it like will stay onto the wig cap. And you're using your Mod Podge, by the way, and then you just kind of let that dry for a few moments before you put on the next layer. So 1 second. And one thing I did forget to mention though, before you start gluing, make sure to cut off the like matted part at the top, just because you want it to lay like really flat, so that when you put the flocking over it, that it won't look like there's a big bump, which is why we're also not putting the weft there. So for this, we have the first part down and it's dried. Then for the second part, we want to put some glue above the sideburn. And then spread this out just a little bit. And then again, have a firm grip on it. And then you can glue that down. And just make sure to keep all the glue and everything above the sideburn. And the purpose of this is that the the flocking will cover this, but it won't be going on to the sideburn. And you don't want the sideburn to start out looking like the kind of matted look that it has right there. So like this way it looks like natural hair just kind of coming out, and then flocking will start there to cover up this part. So, but you also need something on the actual sideburn, which is why we did the first part first. So I hope that makes sense. And we'll stop here, let this dry, and show you the flocking. Alright, so Zaytos went ahead and finished one of the sides, and I think it looks pretty awesome. So all the way around. And then she's leaving a space in the middle for the Mohawk. So she'll be wefting those parts and putting those on later. But we're going to go ahead and show you how to put on the
Flocking.
The flock. Alright.
Currently in the process of getting her wig done with the flock that I've made. And it's just finally cut alpaca hair. I didn't add anything to it. This is my flock powder. And then I've got my Mod Podge glue.
And by the way, just to mention, we did transfer the Mod Podge into a cup because as we were painting on both of the wigs, the hair started getting into the Mod Podge container. And so if you want to keep your Mod Podge clean and hair free, then I was just using some sort of cup or container.
Yeah, this is super hairy.
Okay. But sorry about that, but yeah.
So I just paint on the glue where I'm going to put the flocking. Or flocker. And I don't do it in very large sections because I don't want the glue to dry up too quickly. I'm going to scoop on a little bit of the flock and put on the head and press down, filling in all the gaps and all the glue spaces. And then if there's any spaces left over, I can just dab little dots of glue to refill in the spots. Okay. Add a little bit more glue where you're putting it. A little shovel. It's probably more than I need. There we go. Might not look too great as you're doing it, but I promise it'll eventually look flush. And just keep working at it until finally you just cover the whole head. So if you have like a little bald spot gappage like you do here, what I normally do to fill it in, I just add a tiny dab of glue right on top of the hairs here. Not a lot. And then just put this right on top. Fill in the bald spot and blend it in and flatten it as nicely as possible. Cover it up. And voila, no more bald spot. Okay, so now I'm getting ready to cover her sideburns, and all I did was just add some Mod Podge onto the top all the way around, and then I'll just add like I normally do, but on top of it until it blends in to look like the other side. So. trying to keep it as seamless as possible. And fill in as much as possible on the wig cap. And spread it out and press down.
Alright, so down here are some of the wefts that I'm actually making for my other wig, but just to give you guys an idea of what to do for the Mohawk on here. Alright, so she wants her Mohawk to be lying forward, which means that we're going to have to be putting the hairs going forward. Like on the other video, because we want the hairs to be lying this way, we're actually going to have to start from the top, from the very front, and glue them down. But she does want them to lay to the side. So she is going to actually put them a little bit sideways as she goes, but not like too much, because you don't want it to just go all the way to the side. So just a really tad bit to the side. If you want them to go forward though, then you could just lay it like straight back to front. And then the other wig, you would glue it, like put some Mod Podge there, and then just glue this there. And then you're going to take your next weft, and, well, for hers it's lying to the side, so it'll be like this. And take your next weft and put it down.
Can you demonstrate that again to show exactly where you're putting it?
Put it like half onto the first one and half off. And you want it just a little bit to the side. But as you go increasingly back to kind of give it the image of a Mohawk, you want to kind of make them go increasingly more forward, so that when you get back to here, it's all going to be going forward, and all of the hair will kind of curve to the side. So, hopefully that makes some sense. And if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below. One more thing I forgot to mention. So when it's all on there, there's going to be little bits showing out on one side or both sides if you made it kind of go more straight. So what you're going to need to do is take your flock and then just dab a little bit of glue along the seam, or like the place where the Mohawk is, and careful not to get it onto these hairs. Just put glue there and then just put more flock powder on it, just like you did for the rest of the head, just to cover up that bit of Mod Podge that's going to be showing through.
And same thing when you get to the back of the very last weft and you have the last one sitting here, you just go right around it with the flocking.
Yeah, because you'll be able to see like all that shininess. So if you just kind of go onto the flocking that's there for your last little bit and then flock over that, then you won't be able to see it anymore. So you'll be all good. Alright guys, bye bye.